I love 3D printing. I haven't been doing it the longest time, maybe 4 years, but I print all the time. And when I recently read some reports talking about how 3D printers, whether hobbyist or commercial grade, release emissions and ultrafine particles and some other damaging things in the air that when we inhale that could cause adverse effects on our health, that concerned me a bit. So what I wanted to do is use this video to highlight some research articles and actual empirical data to see, is there a risk to our health for 3D printing? Do we need to change the way we do the hobby and the way we print? For example, I live in a condo where granted one room is dedicated to all my 3D printers, but I don't have enclosures, I don't have ventilation systems, I don't have filters, I don't open the window. Is that a problem? Should we be concerned? I don't know. And we may not have a hard answer right now, but I want to use this time to jump into a study that actually has numbers, that's actually been published in a scientific journal, and see if we can draw any conclusions on how we can change how we 3D print, simply to make it healthier and safer for us in the long term to 3D print the way that we've been doing for years and the way that we love, so we can continue to enjoy our hobby. So let's start on that right now. There are a lot of papers and reports out there, and for the most part, they all say the same thing. But when researching, I actually wanted scientific published papers. That means something that there is empirical scientific data being presented, and that the publishers found that this paper would provide a significant scientific contribution to the community. So the one I'll use is right here. There's only a couple of these type of papers. They say something very similar. I like this one. The diagrams are easier to understand and their studies are a bit more in-depth. And I will put the link here in the description so you can take a look, but let's break it down. Based on the abstract, what we see is that the concern from 3D printers are the fact they release ultra-fine particles, or they call them UFPs, that are less than 100 nanometers. And they also release these hazardous volatile organic compounds, also called VOCs. The next thing we know is that the dangers vary based on the filament used. Now, note this paper doesn't cover resin, which from my research is clearly worse than filament based, but I'm going to save that for another video if interested. But there are some ranges given, such as ABS emits VOCs from 10 to 110 micrograms per minute, compared to PLA, which is only 4 to 5 micrograms per minute. So much less than ABS. And I realize these numbers don't mean anything right now. And then as a caution at the end of the abstract, they mentioned that caution should be used when operating in poorly ventilated spaces. So let's dive deeper into what this really says. So these UFPs and VOCs are released when the filament is heated and melted through the nozzle. Emissions and particles are released into the air, then we can breathe them, and because they are so small, they may get sucked in and travel deep within our lungs. If considered carcinogens, this could lead to cancer or irritants for our lungs and cause a host of other negative side effects as well. So let's dive into the results and look at this first figure here. What this shows is that the UFPs are highest when the print begins. Then it falls off, it increases again, and then during the printing, about 10 to 20 minutes afterward, these UFPs rapidly fell. However, do note that the lowest levels of UFP concentration is still higher than the background concentration. Also note, this is for ABS, not PLA. We have to clarify what are we using for our filament and all of these tests and all of these findings. Now let's look at figure 3. So this shows the UFP concentrations for multiple filaments and printer filament combos. This is really useful because the other paper I looked at only used one combination. That's one reason why I chose this paper. They did more combinations of filament and printers. So what we can take a look at here in this box and whisker plot, we can see kind of the median and the range values of UFP concentrations. So according to this, ABS has the highest tested. You can see all the other filaments and what printers they used. PLA is the least on average, and then there are some random filaments that are kind of in between these two. There are a couple tidbits here that I wanted to highlight. Number one, they mentioned regardless of the shape that was printed, the emissions remained pretty constant. So it doesn't matter what you are printing, as long as the amount of filament melted is the same, the emissions will be the same. Also, one of the 3D printers had an enclosure, but they only saw a 35% reduction in UFP concentration. They do admit that maybe the enclosure wasn't totally sealed, but I found that to be interesting. Now, we don't have the details of how big was the enclosure. Did they use a filter? What speed was the fan going? Some of those could make big impacts, but I don't know that. They didn't highlight those. But even with an enclosure, only a 35% reduction isn't crazy, right? So a simple enclosure and filtration system might not eliminate your risk entirely. I think it's important to know that. Now let's talk about the VOCs. From the tests, PLA emission rates were primarily of lactid. That ranges from 4 to 5 microgram per minute using the 3 printers that they tried. Now this is far lower than the ABS from nylon and some of the other random filaments here tested, and you can see this on the graphs. There's just much less VOC from PLA regardless of what printer they were using compared to some of the other filaments. Note as well, I found this interesting, is that bed temperature, nozzle temperature, and the use of glue for bed adhesion did not have a big influence on UFP emission rates. A couple of their findings they do admit were interesting, but the overall conclusion they came from, albeit they admitted more work needed to be done, was that these things had no real apparent relationship. UFP concentration increases and bed temperature and nozzle temperature weren't directly correlated. So I think that's interesting. So let's get to the good stuff. What are the implications? So styrene, which is released when heating ABS, is by the International Agency for Research on Cancer considered a possible carcinogen. Caprolactam is classified as probably not carcinogenic, and lactid, which is the primary VOC for PLA, has no data and isn't considered anything. Now, that doesn't mean it's not carcinogenic. It just means that there are no official claims or data that has been reported on it. So the recommendations from this paper are really more on the manufacturer side. They say that number one, more research needs done. Number two, manufacturers need to create low emission emitting filament or 3D printers. And three, manufacturers need to have printers be included with an enclosed filtration system. So what does that mean to me? What's this mean for you? Well, of course, individual risk is based on you, the individual. If I were using ABS, I would be slightly concerned. Again, there isn't enough data to start going nuts and throwing your printers out, but I would be more inclined to possibly open a window, consider using PLA, put this in an outside garage workshop if I could. I would maybe consider an enclosure or look for a 3D printer with a filtration system. And there are a couple that exist. They're pretty expensive and you may be limited on some of the capabilities you like, but they do exist. Now for me, I exclusively use PLA. So I'm happy that it emits the least harmful particles. However,
I'm not happy that it releases them, period, right? Something that I, again, have never considered. Similar to ABS, I'm going to try to use similar methods to just reduce my risk. So first thing I'm going to do is increase ventilation, especially when it's feasible. Open a window. Don't breathe in the fumes. Possibly even stay out of the room during the first 20 minutes of the print. I have a Beagle camera. I can set this up and monitor it from afar. But there are a few other things that make me feel a bit better about PLA. First of all, again, reports say potentially nozzle temperature can increase the emissions. The paper doesn't say that, but some people say it. You know, PLA, you can reduce the temperature and still get successful prints. I will do that. 2, PLA, we know that it's biodegradable. So even if these small particulates get into your lungs, they will degrade. Now, I know the idea of them degrading in your body doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound great to me either, but it's better than them just staying there for the rest of your life. 2, PLA is already used in industry, in medical procedures, for medical implants actually, in food handling, and it's been cleared by the FDA. Now, I understand that using PLA to store food is different than melting it and sniffing the fumes, but it gives me a bit more hope. So online sources say that it could be toxic if inhaled, but only during manufacturing processes, like if it's inhaled or absorbed into the skin or eyes as a vapor or liquid. This probably isn't going to happen when you're 3D printing, unless you're standing right over the nozzle in your 3D print while it's being printed and you're just inhaling the fumes and you're breathing right over top of it. I don't think most of us do that. Now, tests and more research obviously still need to be done. Prior to this, as I mentioned, only one paper provided hard scientific data, and they only used it for a single printer. This study uses 5 printers, 9 different filaments, the most common being PLA and ABS. So these results may differ if you're using an Ender or a Soval, but it looked like it was pretty consistent, and the big factor was, are you using ABS? Are you using a PLA or another filament?
Now, I don't know if this makes you feel better or worse, but if nothing else, I hope that this at least gave you a reference, maybe giving you some information to be better equipped, slightly better educated on the risks, and ultimately, I feel like you have to make the best decision for you. I've given you what I plan to do to mitigate my risks, and it may end up being nothing at all. May be something really bad in the future, who knows? But ultimately, I think when we make our decisions and we're better well educated, we at least stand a better chance of being able to enjoy this hobby for years and years to come in a very safe manner. Thanks for watching.